Let me talk to you for a moment, not like I'm speaking to a crowd, but like it's just you and me. Because if you've stopped chasing her, it probably wasn't a strategy. It wasn't a trick. It wasn't something you planned one morning with confidence. It happened because something inside you finally got tired. Tired of waiting, tired of guessing, tired of carrying something that was never being carried back. And now that you've gone quiet, you're wondering what that silence actually does. Not on the surface, not whether she texts or doesn't, but what really shifts when your presence is no longer there. The first thing that happens is subtle, but powerful. Your silence breaks the pattern. You were a constant before, a familiar rhythm in her day. Even if she didn't fully choose you, even if she took you for granted, your attention had a place in her routine. And when that disappears without drama, without explanation, without emotional noise, her mind doesn't immediately process it as rejection. It feels more like something is off, like a song skipping a beat. And that disruption matters because people react most strongly when something familiar no longer behaves the way it always did. Then something else begins to happen. Your absence doesn't create relief the way people assume it does. Relief is quiet and short-lived. What actually lingers is imagination. When you stop chasing, you leave behind empty space, and the mind hates empty space. It starts filling it with questions, replaying moments, revisiting conversations, not because she suddenly misses you deeply, but because the story feels unfinished. You didn't argue, you didn't explain, you didn't stay to be convinced, you simply stepped away. And now she no longer controls the ending in her head. That's when curiosity replaces comfort. Over time, your silence also changes how you're remembered. This is something most people never realize. The way you leave someone often matters more than how hard you tried to love them. When you stop chasing, you stop reinforcing the version of you that was always available, always adjusting, always waiting. Slowly, the image of you shifts. You're no longer remembered as the one who wanted more. You become the one who chose himself. And that version of you carries more weight. Even if she never reaches out, you stop shrinking in her memory. Then there's the quiet shift of emotional power. Power doesn't move when someone begs or demands clarity. It moves when someone no longer needs a response. When you stop looking for her, you remove yourself from the emotional negotiation entirely. No pressure, no expectations, no reactions to manage. And suddenly, whether she admits it or not, she feels something unfamiliar. Not guilt, but uncertainty. She can't predict how you feel anymore. She doesn't know where you stand or if you still care. And unpredictability is far more unsettling than confrontation. Now here's the part most people don't want to hear. Sometimes nothing happens. She doesn't come back. She doesn't ask questions. She doesn't reach out. And that isn't a loss, that's clarity. Because the real shift was never meant to happen in her. It was meant to happen in you. The moment you stopped chasing, you stopped orbiting someone who wasn't choosing you. And that decision reshapes your standards, your posture, and the kind of connections you allow into your life. Silence doesn't always bring someone back. Sometimes it brings you back to yourself. As time passes, something even deeper settles in. You stop wondering what she feels. Not because you're numb, but because your sense of self is no longer tied to her reaction. Your energy changes. Your presence changes. Your boundaries stop being ideas and start becoming real. Whether she returns or not stops mattering. And ironically, that's the version of you people respond to the most. Eventually, if she does reflect, she feels the weight of finality, not right away. At first, your silence feels temporary. People assume distance is just a phase. She tells herself you'll reach out eventually. But as days turn into weeks and weeks turn into real absence, something sinks in. This isn't a tactic. This isn't you waiting for her to chase. This is an ending, and endings that don't announce themselves echo the longest. The door didn't slam. It closed quietly, and that quiet lingers. There's one final truth your silence teaches that words never could. By walking away without bitterness, you show that attention and presence aren't unlimited resources. People don't disappear because they stop caring. They disappear because they start respecting themselves. And whether she understands that now or years later, that lesson stays. Because the people who leave with dignity don't leave pain behind. They leave perspective. And here's the real shift. You don't become unforgettable by holding on. You don't become meaningful by staying visible. You become unforgettable the moment you stop chasing a place where you were optional. When you choose peace over permission, You separate yourself from everyone who stayed too long, explained too much, and emptied themselves hoping to be chosen. So don't measure success by whether she texts you. Measure it by this. Are you calmer? Are you clearer? Are you no longer trying to convince someone of your value? Because real strength isn't loud. It doesn't beg. It doesn't announce itself. It simply walks away without collapsing. And that kind of silence stays with people long after you're gone.